Alright, it's Christmas Day and I'm actually in the woods. It's kind of warm out. Christmas has been kind of a messed up year. It's been messed up this year, but nonetheless, it doesn't really matter. It's just another day of the year if you look at it logically. But you're supposed to be spending it with your family and your friends or whatever. And I guess this year it just wasn't meant to be. But anyway, so I decided that I would take a walk and I'd take my rifle with me. You're probably thinking, oh, what's he got? An AR or a 308 or a M14, M21, SOCOM. What's he using? Well, I'll tell you what I'm using. I'm using the rifle that I bought when I was in 8th grade. And I bought this rifle. I paid about $150 for it. Of course, it's in my dad's name because when you're in 8th grade here in New Jersey, you're not allowed to buy a rifle or handgun or anything like that. But this is it. This is and you're going to see some weird stuff on it because it hasn't had an easy life, let's put it that way. And I'm sure some of you older fellas out there would just, it's a Remington Nylon 66. It's a 22 long rifle. Somebody sent me a text message. Yeah, Sal from Massachusetts sent me a text message. But anyways, this is a Remington Nylon 66, and you're probably wondering, why in the hell did you buy that rifle? Well, I bought this rifle because my father has one, and he got it when he was a young man. And of course, when I was in 8th grade and all, I wanted to be just like my dad and have the same things that he had. And obviously, it's reliable. I've probably ran hundreds of thousands of rounds through this thing. And to be quite honest with you, I've killed more things with this rifle and been more accurate with this rifle than any other rifle I've owned of its caliber, 22 caliber. It's been with me through a lot, actually. Got in trouble with this gun one time, and I think the statute of limitations for game violations is up after a couple of years, and I really don't give a shit anyway. But I actually shot a lot of deer with this rifle here in New Jersey. You can shoot a lot of deer with a 22 rifle and nobody ever even thinks twice of it because, a lot of people are like, oh, well, the 22 isn't powerful enough to kill a deer. Well, to be quite honest with you, this thing is powerful enough to kill a lot more than just a deer. It's just in shot placement and how accurate you are and how persistent you are. Well, this is a semi-automatic, if you haven't guessed. The bolt that is, basically renders the rifle inactive. This is the bolt, and it is plastic. It's nylon with steel workings, and I'll give you a little bit of a story of my odd screws on here. These do not belong to this rifle. This was a screw-up that I did. When you're a young man, you want to have a 30-06, even though you've got a 22 rifle. So in my adventurous youth, I had managed to make compressed loads for a 22 long rifle. I made several of them. Some were smart, some were not smart. So for the most part, this is a 22 long rifle only. It is not meant for anything but 22 long rifle. And I'll show you right here. It says 22 long rifle, if I can get it to focus. It says 22 long rifle only. Come on. There it is, Remington 22 long rifle only. It will not shoot shorts, longs, or CBs. I mean, you can if you feed them one at a time. You can, but it's really tricky. But you can't tube feed them. They don't have enough power to open the bolt to make it work. So, but anyway, I decided one time many years ago that I would just pop the lid off of the 22 caliber cartridge, which I'll set it down on the ground there if it doesn't go sliding down a friggin' hill, and I'll show you how you do this. I probably shouldn't, but if you take that 22 bullet off of there, come on baby, that'll come off of there and the powder is exposed. There's enough space in there, just about that much space in there below the lead Why isn't this thing focusing? There's enough space below the lead that you can pour more powder in there. So what I did was I took and unbeknownst to me at the time, what a compressed load was, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably thinking, I don't even know what a compressed load is. Well, what I did was I took several of these apart and I poured the powder out, and I would fill the top of it up, and and then put the bullet back down on top of it. I had made a little thing. I actually used a pen, a ballpoint pen, and it was big enough that I could just slide that, turn the ballpoint pen around, pull it out, take the ink out of it, turn it completely around, force it into the end of the pen, and then you could basically press this thing together to make a higher powered round. Now, the first few that I did, I only added a tiny little bit more powder, and it did make a big difference as to what you could do. But when I filled the cartridge all the way to the top, and I forced that bullet back down on top of the casing, what that did was it did exactly what I said. It made a compressed load. It took that powder and it compressed it tight inside the casing. Well, what that does then, it changes the characteristics of the way the powder burns. It actually makes it burn faster. There's more compression there. More powder, it's compressed, and it just ignites faster. So it's like if you take that powder and you spill it out on a piece of paper and light it with a lighter, it's like a controlled burn. It burns very slowly. It's not like black powder, but once you put it under a pressure, then it burns it burns hotter and faster. So that's what happened. I had made that compressed load, and it actually sheared these bolts off. And I never told my mom and dad what I had done, because they would have probably taken my rifle away. I was probably a freshman in high school or so. Maybe I was in 8th grade when I got this thing. It might have been 7th grade. 8th grade. I was in 8th grade when I bought this. And anyway, so it wasn't long after I had bought it that I had done this to it. But I'm sure my dad always wondered why they had different bolts in there. He just didn't say anything, because I'm pretty sure he was as adventurous as I was when I did that, and when he was my age. And as you could tell, there actually is a scope rail on here already made in there, and I had experimented with scopes also in the past. And with this rifle, because I had broken this off, that actually floats, and it is impossible to make it accurate with a scope. So I just use the iron sights, and let me tell you something, I can pick off a deer at 150 yards with this thing and kill it. Of course, I haven't done it now for many, many years, because I just don't really care to kill deer with a .22 rifle anymore, I guess. I'm into different things. But anyways, yeah, so that's my rifle. There's a lot of stories with this rifle. There's every scratch tells a story. I'm glad I bought the Nylon 66, because I don't have to worry about busting up the furniture. A lot of guys, they get a gun out, they take it out of their gun cabinet, and bam, it's scratched and are sick about it. Well, a Nylon 66 rifle, you can pretty much throw it on the ground, step on it, run it over with a tractor, and it bounces back pretty good, and it fires pretty well flawless, which that one did. There you go. So anyways, thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe for more.